Good evening, all. Welcome to this PMP introductory session today. We are going to look at what is PMP, what all you are going to be going through in this journey. First and foremost, I would be covering uh, what and how about PMP, introduction about PMI, and what all we need to know about this exam. I would like to cover the steps and then get into the prerequisites about the exam, what you need to be, what you should have as an experience. There are some prerequisites from PMI. Before I start, I would like to give an introduction about the PMI itself. PMI is one of the globally recognized institutions who issue the certifications on project management, program, portfolio management, and these days also into construction management, schedule management. There have been a lot of things that are getting added into the portfolio. However, this institute started with one and only certification to begin with, which was PMP. And later, many things have got added into the pool of certifications that PMI has been doing. One of the globally recognized US based organization, not to profit organization, delivering the best to the project management community so far. Also, the certifications are globally recognized. Within India, it has a lot of importance and significance and value to it, especially in the IT and other sectors. Outside India, in the Middle East, it has a lot of recognition in the oil and gas and construction domains. That is where most of our people also happen to be in those countries. Again, in North America and also few Asian countries, again, it is taken by the people from various forte, hospital management, people take up from IT, software, hotel management. There are multiple people trying to achieve the certification. So that must give you an idea or a vague understanding that this certification is not only for a specific industry or a domain. It also gives you advantage of switching careers if you want to move from a software to a non-IT, from a non-IT to an IT background. All of those switch is possible with PMP. Practically seen, have seen people doing that. After PMP, they can switch the industry, they can switch the domain, which will open up lot more opportunities for people having this certification, which justifies saying that you are a project manager. Okay, so that's about the certification itself. How this can open up and give you a lot more credibility and also a lot more opportunities in this domain of project management. So as a journey, this is going to open up a lot of opportunities, though it is a little of a longer journey. You need to give your time and dedication to this. However, the outcome of this is going to be surely helpful and fruitful to all of your success. Okay, good. Having said that, I would like to talk about the first thing that like I said, what is this workshop going to be? And workshop would cover few things. On first and foremost, I would like to cover what is who and what is PMI all about. Okay, and one more important thing is about the PMBOK guide. I don't know how many of you have heard, but I'm going to cover what is this, and then get into quickly we will get into evaluation of PMI and other type of certifications PMI offers, and then we will go in detail about the exam. So I'm going to structure it this way, maybe it about 10 minutes of this section where we are going to talk about what is PMI, who is PMI, because there is a background behind it. And then I'm going to get into the PMP and the exam and what is it all about and how and what we offer in this package for you, right? So how do we help and what packaging we do for you so that you can achieve this certification for yourself. That is what we focus on in this session. Okay. If you have anything else apart from this in mind and you want to bring it up, please always feel free to drop a message on chat window. I'm watching the chat window constantly. And if you want to speak out, you're welcome to speak out. If something is not covered that you have in your mind, you can always speak up. And if that is coming later, I'm going to park your question and anyway help you later when that particular topic is coming in the flow. But never think twice about your questions being asked. Even if it is basic, don't worry. Please be free to ask any kind of questions. Great. So quickly, we are going to talk about the PMI journey. So PMI was inception happened in 1969, and the first PMP exam launch happened in 1984, which means we are now in 2024. About 40 years of history PMP has built, and a lot of certifications have increased in the last 2 years. There are threefolds increase in the number of people achieving the PMP certification. So this is also a justification about how much of demand is increasing for PMP certification in the whole project management fraternity. Okay, so there is 3 to 4 folds increase in the number of people from the last 2 3 years being forced, or either it is a mandate from the organizations being saying after reaching this position in your organization you should be having a certification. There are some kind of mandates also being done by various organizations. Some organizations have been setting this as an entry criteria, so we can be sure that going further there is a validation phase that happens which says people with certification always carry a lot higher chances of winning or breaking through some job interviews as well. So 1984, the first PMI launch happened. And there is another thing that we will happen to hear throughout this journey is about the PMBOK guide. If you see this on the PMBOK guide in 1987, there was a PMBOK guide. So what is a PMBOK guide? A PMBOK guide is nothing but a practitioner document, which is a book published by PMI. Basically, this is a book published by PMI for the practitioner's point of view. There are a lot of volunteers. PMI is made of volunteers. Okay. Am I audible? Is there any problem in my audio?
No, you are audible. No
Was there?
problem.
Okay. Sorry. I think there is a problem in the screen share. Just give me a second. Okay. Hopefully, all of you can see my screen back. Sorry about that.
Yes.
So I see a question. What is PMBOK guide? I anticipate that question to be there with all of us. PMBOK guide is a book which is like contributions of practitioners throughout the world, across various industry, across various domains, across various practices, different level of experience. Yeah, it is called project management body of knowledge. This is a basically a publication from PMI where volunteers, certification holders, it can be PMP or any other certification holders from PMI, they have been contributing to this whole lot of a book, we call it. In fact, I call it, or many of our people from PMI background call it as project management ocean of knowledge, which means there is a lot of data, practices, and experiences from people that have been documented by PMI as publications. It's not only about project management, they have various other publications. It is like a book. If you become a member, you get a digital copy of that, a PDF for yourself to read, and it is one of the books which is a reference for our exam. It is not the book which is going to be used for the exam. You're not going to get questions directly from this exam book or anything like that. This is not a reference book or an exam preparation book at all. It is a guide to project management. Anyone can use it, whether you want to appear for the exam or not appear for the exam. It is a very good practitioner's book. That is how I would call, right? If you have seen about how graduates from law, all of that people refer to their past practitioners' experiences, it is like that. So it is a book published by PMI, a knowledge guide published by PMI. Likewise, there are program management guides, portfolio management guides. For every domain, there is a book published by PMI. Likewise, this is one of the book which PMI publishes from their practitioners from project management. And this keeps evolving. Currently, it is seventh edition, which is the current version, and already the eighth edition is being worked upon. It is in the draft phase. Many of them have been contributing, including myself. I have been a reviewer to that. I've been also reviewing that and contributing to that particular guide. So volunteers, even tomorrow, once all of you are certified as PMP certification holders, you can also become a volunteer. You can volunteer in multiple ways. There are ways in multiple domains you can contribute or volunteer to. Like I said, PMI is a not-to-profit or a non-profit organization. It is run and it is taken care by the volunteers. And of course, there are some office bearers who are working as employees of PMI who run the entire business as a show. Okay. So that's about the PMI and PMP and the PMBOK guide. Okay. Having said this, like I also made a conflicting statement that the exam questions are not going to be on this book. Then what else is it going to be on? Any guesses? Anyone want to make? Exam questions or if you have come across this anywhere, do you want to share your thought about what and how you are going to get exam questions? Where is it coming from then? If it is not about this book. Before I break the ice, anyone wants to share? Yes.
I heard that actually there are some dumps available and people
Okay.
used to go through the dumps to practice before exam.
Great. Okay. So that is about the practice part. But in the exam, if I have to rephrase my question, where are these questions coming from? Who is writing these questions? Do you think somebody sitting in PMI is doing that? Okay, I'll come to it. Nahid, I see your question, but I'll come to it. I'll park it for now. Okay. Anyone
Okay.
wants to help? Satish says that yes, that is one of the ways to prepare. There is a lot of exam dumps or mock exams available where we go through and pass the exam. That's okay. And for your information, Satish, this exam questions keep replenishing every often. So the question that you may see today may be not the same after a couple of weeks. Okay. But where are these inflow of questions coming from? So keep in mind these are also coming from practitioners like us who are working in the project management as a domain and contributing to the PMI fraternity as framing the questions, writing the questions for the exam, which is current, and testing the challenges from the current industry practices. And most importantly, all of us have to keep in mind this is one of the exams. I'm not saying this is the only exam, but there are few more exams, but very few to count, which perform scenario based questions, which means situational questions in the exam. Not all certifications do conduct this kind of an exam where it is situational based, which means majority, I would say 99% of the question in the exam is going to be situational based questions. Given a situation, given a scenario, if you are a project manager, how are you going to perform in that particular situation? Again, we as a person is also playing a role and also practices as per the standards, as per the PMI framework. We have to be able to understand the PMI intricacies, the language of project management as per PMI, and also apply that knowledge onto that scenario. So this is not a knowledge based exam at all. In fact, none of the certifications of PMI is knowledge based. Everything is skill based certifications, which means you already possess the knowledge, you already have a bit of a skill on applying that to the scenario. That is what is getting tested in the exam, which means what PMI says is you're already a working or a project manager who have been delivering and have been playing those roles. In fact, we are only certifying you saying that yes, you know the standard practices, you know how to apply these standard practices, how to adapt into those standard practices at work. So it's a justifying factor through certification saying that yes, you know the concepts, you have the skill to be a project manager, through which organizations look for that certification and say, okay, you are a PMP, good, you know the basic skills. PMI has authorized or certified saying that you know those skills that a project manager has to carry. That's how this works. So, which means exam questions are scenario based. I'm also going to talk about how many questions you're going to see in the exam, what type of questions, all that is there to cover. But what is more important is none of the exam questions are coming from any specific book. Okay, books can help you gain the knowledge, including PMBOK. Okay, so if you open PMI site, I'll show you maybe towards the later part of this introduction. Whoever wants to drop off can drop off. I will share the information where to look for these details that I'm speaking today. I'm not creating anything fresh from myself, right? So this is all coming from PMI. All of this should be found somewhere, and PMI website is the best place where you can find all of that. After I complete the main part, I'm going to show you where all you can find this information. Where can you go through this offline after this workshop or this session that we're doing? How all information is there out, but however, I'm putting it in a proper format where you can easily digest it. That is all I'm doing in this session. I'm not inventing or reinventing any wheel here. Okay. So looking at that perspective, you're getting these questions. They're all replenished. Like I said, there is a set of questions they're getting added. We don't know the frequency. PM hasn't made it available to anyone how frequently they're changing the questions. But however, from our practical experience when people are taking exams, they've not been seeing similar questions. I know many people would have spoken to each other, exchanged the type of questions, all that. The format may be similar, but same questions, it is highly doubtful another person would have got. In fact, they would have taken immediately, maybe in a week's time or so. So we can't be saying that a dump or a questions can be useful to us, but yes, it can be good knowledge building sessions or knowledge building tools for us. Okay. And like I said, PMBOK is one of the reference. You may find many books like that. And even our material or content that we have prepared can also be used as one reference for you for the exam. Okay. So this is about the exam. This is about the questions that you're going to see. Like I said, the PMBOK currently it is 7th edition, and very soon 8th edition also should be there. You should be able to see the 8th edition very soon. Okay, so that's about the PMBOK. Any questions on PMBOK? Uh, Anything that is not clear you want me to stress upon? Let me know. Okay, so that's about the PMBOK, and this is how your PMBOK looks. Like I said, if you become a member, there are two things. One, PMI has a membership, which is an annual membership. There are a lot more other benefits that you have if you become a member. Along with that, you will get access to the PMI publication, the books from PMI that can be used as one of the reference material for your exam preparation. So that is the 7th edition of PMBOK. 6th edition was available until early this year. They have now stopped making it available. That version is actually a sunset now. They have sunsetted that version. 7th edition is the only edition that is available as of now. Okay. So if none of these books are a reference for the exam, how how do you think? Again, let's not be worried about being wrong. All of you can share your thoughts on this question that I'm asking. People can frame any kind of questions. How do you think PMI is saying that when you're framing your questions, there has to be some kind of a framework you should use, which means you can't ask any question just like that. You have to basically follow a framework to frame my questions if I'm trying to test somebody's knowledge on a specific domain. For example, how do you do people management? How do you conflict management? If I have to test somebody on some of the knowledge, there is a framework which has been set up by PMI for framing the questions also. Again, if I am preparing to take the exam, I'm also looking at the same framework on how am I going to give the exam, right? So, in fact, PMI has one of the uh, references which is called as exam content outline. I don't know if you have come across this term, which is like a framework for the exam. How does this look and what is it all about? Before I go there, I would want to maybe I would want to show what are all the different PMI certifications which are highly in demand. I put this across in according to the demand, according to the people that take up exam certifications. For your information, this is the entry level project management certification, which is called CAPM. This is for experienced people with three and above. This is a specific training on a schedule professional, risk management professional, program, portfolio, agile, and PBA. These are some of the widely taken up certifications from people on the PMI front. Okay. And how do they change? Basically, they are taken up at different experience levels. From 0 to 3 years, people take up CAPM, ACP, DASSM, 3+ years of experience, PMP, PBA, a few agile certifications, and specialized courses like RMP, schedule management, risk management professional, construction management professional. All of those come as specific domain specific certifications. And 8+ years of experience, they happen to be in the PGMP, program management and portfolio management. And I'm going to touch upon what is the difference between project and a program. Again, from a certification standpoint, all of these are prerequisites. For taking a PMP, you should prove yourself that you have a 3+ years of project management experience. For program management, 8+ years have to be proven. For agile certified practitioner, CAPM is actually for entry level. You don't need to showcase any experience, working experience. And for few, you have to showcase experience uh, profile as well. What is this and how is it? Where is it going to be checked? I'm going to talk about it after I tell you about the exam content outline. Okay. So, like I said, exam content outline is the basis for the PMP exam. EC was created by again global PMI practitioners. They say, as a project manager, you have to be knowing all of these tasks, performing all of these tasks according to the standard practices, what tools, what techniques, what trends in the emerging project management uh, domain you have, you should be aware of them. And every 3 to 4 years, or sometimes it takes 5 years, they keep replenishing this as well, which means they align with the domain. They call it as the role specific delineation study. They call it as RDS, role specific or role delineation study, which means the current practices, they check the current practices and how current is it with the current existing ECO. If they have to change anything on it, they keep revisiting, realigning from a practical domain or a industry expectation. So the last update to this happened in 2021. In fact, this particular update was supposed to be ready or available in 2019 itself. However, it was delayed because of the COVID impact and many other challenges which PMI had in order to push this particular edition. So every 4 years, normally we see a new exam content outline. That is when the exam also will change. Keep in mind, if there is a new version, which means a new edition of PMBOK, like a PMBOK is a book, project management body of knowledge. We call it as the guide for project management. Any number of editions of that book can be released by PMI. That doesn't impact the exam at all. Okay. Next month, if 8th edition is also live, it doesn't mean the exam will change. Please keep this in mind. Don't ever get confused. If a new version of the study guide is made available, exam is going to change. No, it is not about the guide edition of the guide or anything. It has nothing to do with the study material. You can use any other study material that may be equally good as your project management body of knowledge. That doesn't matter at all for your exam. What matters to you is the exam content outline. Exam is going to be framed around this exam content outline. Where you can find this? This is a free to download PDF file I can share. In fact, after this session, you're going to get emails where you can find this, download this, have a look at this, and I have a glimpse of it for you. You can look at them as well. So you can go through the detail about it. All it contains is, as a project manager, what tasks, what activities, what techniques and practices you should be aware of to perform your job. In fact, how do you deal with people? How do you do conflict management? How do you make sure the project scope management is handled well? What practices globally are followed? What techniques you may have to follow if you have to be doing the proper scope management, cost management. Likewise, there are multiple areas. What type of business environment, organization environment you should be aware of? How do you deliver business value towards your organization? How do you ensure your team aligns always with the business value direction? All of that is something documented in this ECO. Like it says, includes what they think you need to know to do the job, which means who thinks it is PMI thinks, or the volunteers or the practitioners, PMI members who hold PMI certification, think that if you have to be performing in the current project management domain, you need to be aware and you need to be able to perform on all of these challenges. Okay, how does a ECO look like? This is one of the sample. ECO is split into three different domains. Current ECO, which is the 2021 edition, it splits into three domains: people, process, and business environment. Even in exam, the questions are going to be the number that you see here on the top is the percentage. People hyphen 42% that you see here is saying that questions on the people domain are going to be 42% in your exam out of 100% people based questions, which means there are multiple tasks that you see in this document as a task one, which means as a project manager, how do you do conflict management? First and foremost, you should interpret the source and the stage of the conflict. What is the severity of the conflict? Stage of conflict is nothing but what stage it is in. Is it in a argument mode? Is it in a silent conflict? Is it in a background conflict? There are multiple types of conflict, right? So what stage of conflict it is in? What is the source? Why is the reason? What is the reason for this conflict? So as a project manager, they expect you to first interpret the source of the conflict, the stage of the conflict. Next comes you analyze the context. Then you recommend a solution. There are multiple ways of providing a conflict resolution. Evaluate, recommend, reconcile, or appropriate conflict resolution methodologies. There are a few conflict resolution methodologies which you can apply to solve the conflict or get a resolution to this conflict based on this approach. So exam questions can be framed around this, saying that how or they would like to create a scenario of a conflict, and then they will place you as a project manager there and try to test your knowledge on how do you resolve a conflict, but you have to be applying these practices into work. Okay. So I have few questions which can help you understand what type of exam questions you may face. I have two sample questions which we will see to get you the understanding of how these questions are going to be in the exam. Okay. So that's about the ECO. That's about the PMBOK and PMI. Three topics I've covered. What is PMI? What different type of certifications you have from PMI? What is a ECO? How your exam questions are going to be seen? What are they? How are they? I've tried to give you some insights about these questions. And there are three uh, domains that you will get questions from, which is people, process, and business environment. Okay, the percentage of questions are going to be split across these three domains, three basic domains of your project management. Okay, people, process, and business environment. This is the current expectations about the exam. So I'm just going to bring up a slide where you will see the percentages. Okay, so if you see the last triangle here, it talks about the way you are going to be tested in your exam questions. Okay, so initially PMI used to call this as, even now it is called as PMI triangle, but this has been evolving. In the previous editions of PMI PMP exam, there used to be three dimensions that they expect a project manager to be well versed with. One, the technical project management. You have to be aware on the technical knowledge of a domain that you have been working. Also, you should be aligned with the strategic and business management. How do you deliver business value to your customers and your organization? And third was about the leadership. They used to see these three domains before. However, they are trying to be little more generic and generalized now. They are calling this dimension of ways of working. It need not be only technical. It could be about utilizing your past experience, utilizing the current trends and practices and emerging uh, improvements in the project management domain. You can use any of them. Basically, they are trying to call it as a ways of working. How do you work within a team? How do you make things work? How do you roll the things out of the project for deliverables? So all of that is called as generically ways of working. Second one is, the instead of saying leadership, they're now calling it as power skills. How do you make use of your skills as a project management, soft skills, your technical skills, your people skills, all of that. And the third one, they're calling it as a business acumen. In fact, those remain the same. The flavors of them remain the same of whatever was called it earlier, but they're making it more generalized and more broader in the sense of business and ways of working and power skills. And in fact, when we map this onto the exam, so this talks about the process part of the project management, what processes, what standards, guidelines you may have to follow. 50% of the questions are going to be on the process. 42% are going to be people or your power skills. They're going to test your power skills. Here it tests the ways of working. How do you work? How do you apply this process at work? And the third part, which is 8%, testing you on your capabilities on the business acumen and the business environment. So this is how they are going to split 100% of the questions into 42, 50, and 8% on three domains. Okay, this is how the percentage of questions is going to be on your exam. Okay, I'll take a pause. Let me see if you have any questions. Anyone have any concerns, speed, or any of them have any inputs you want to share? Do let me know. Otherwise, I'll go on to the next topic of how many questions, what type of questions you can see in the exam. I'm going to cover that. And then comes the process. How do you apply for this exam? What are the prerequisites? That is all I have in this session, and some sample questions. After which the floor is open. Anyone wants to have more depth, more understanding, I'm there for helping you all. Okay. Any thoughts, any questions, any concerns, anything that is not clear, you need more details, you're always welcome to ask me questions. Okay. So this is about PMI,
These
PMPOC, PCO. Yeah, Praveen, go ahead. Yeah.
questions will be multiple choice questions, or do you need to give descriptive answers?
All questions are multiple choice questions. Nothing. Zero questions on descriptive. Okay.
Okay.
Everything is computer based exam questions. You will have a multiple choice, or you can have one question, two or three choices for the same, but nothing descriptive, nothing to write or type in this exam. Okay, good question. Fine. Okay. Fine. So I'll move on since we are talking about the questions. I'm going to get you all little more information about how many questions you will have in the exam, what type of questions you're going to see in the exam. I'm going to go a little deeper in it. Okay. So if you're seeing my screen and you're reading it correctly, you will have 180 questions in the exam. So sorry. Okay. In the exam, you're going to have 180 questions, out of which, like, you can divide them into percentage. You don't have to worry. 180 questions, percentage 50% on process, 42% on people, 8% on business environment. That is how it will be. out of which 175 questions are the scored questions, which means 5 questions are unscored. Any guess what are these scored questions, unscored questions? Anyone wants to take a guess? What is this? Unscored. Why is it unscored, and why, as an exam seeker, why should I take some questions which is not giving me any score or adding any value to me?
It's a sample question.
Yeah, good. Sample questions. Or if I have to be more precise, these are the probable future questions which can become an exam question to other people who are taking after you. You are basically validating that question, quality of that question, time that it took, how confusing was it, how straightforward, how easy was it, all of that kind of an input. PMI would measure it through the process of testing it on you. Unfortunately, it is being tested on us when you're taking the exam. But PMI's way of looking at it is that gives a practical input about the exam questions itself. In fact, you are all lucky in the current exam pattern, which changed in January 2021 onwards, which is about 3+ years now. The number of questions in this domain has been reduced to 5. Earlier, it used to be 20 here. Total number of questions used to be 200 before January 2021. Okay. However, now it has been reduced. The number of questions which are unscored are only 5. Again, as an exam seeker, when you're taking the exam, you will not know that this is an unscored question. It will appear like any other normal question. Keep this in mind. Okay. You will not know this is a question which is not scored or unscored. It comes as like any normal question, 180 questions. One of them in the flow may be unscored, or 5 of them in the flow is unscored. That is how it is. Unfortunately, you will not get to know. Another important element about the questions is in these questions, in this entire exam or any PMI certification, if you take into consideration, none of them are negatively scored. There is no negative scoring. If you do wrong, there is nothing worried about. You either get 1 point or nothing. There is no negative marking in this exam or in any PMI certification. You will not have negative marking. Even if you don't know the answer, you can do a guess always. Okay. So that is the biggest advantage when compared to any other exams. So there is no negative marking here. Every one correct answer, you get 1 point or you lose. That's all. No negative. It doesn't impact any other question. Another concern I have been hearing, I keep asking, getting question about this from people. Consecutively, if I answer 4 or 5 questions correct, will the fifth question be or sixth question be tougher than the previous questions? Nothing like that. I haven't at least come across any such incidents or have personally taken multiple certifications from PMI. I have not seen that happening to myself, or I have not heard this or being announced by PMI. It doesn't increase or decrease the severity or the complexity of questions if you are doing in a, or doing correct or going in good direction, right? It is not stopping. However, this exam is also called as a psychometric analysis exam, which would mean, unfortunately, there is no pass percentage. If this has been a question to all of you, or it may be coming up later, I know this is one of the common question I get from whoever I talk to. What is the pass percentage for this? Which means out of 180 questions, how many questions should I get it correct? PMI till date, not only for PMP certification, none of the certifications, they said this is the minimum number of questions you have to get correct. Nothing like it. So, which means how is this exams graded? It is a psychometric analysis, which means a random ordering. Basically, all 3 domains they try to assess you. There may be questions spread across where they're trying to connect the dots, how well you have understood the whole system and connectivity between the whole system. They're trying to cross check on the whole concept understanding and your knowledge and skill application on a specific concept. You may not be knowing, however, PMI has some questions which are connected. They try to see how well you're trying to also connect the dots and answer these questions in a right way. They may not be the same scenario, they may not be the same question or a context or a same repeat question later. However, the topic like the ECO task, maybe it is related. One of them is testing first task, another is testing third task in the ECO. So likewise, it's an algorithm, specific algorithm, which is built by PMI to gauge your understanding on the entire process and application of that knowledge. Okay, there is no pass percentage that I can guarantee or anybody can guarantee you. I'm going to show you some of the results, how the results would look, what is that score, and I'm going to prove you this information with some data. Okay, I'm not going to just like that give these statements. I'm going to show you how PMI would assess, how the scores have been in the past, how is the correlation, all of that we will see and understand. So getting back to this number of questions aspect, 180 questions, 175 questions are the scored questions. You have 230 minutes to answer these questions, which is approximately a little more than 1 minute per question. Okay, so 230 minutes. And another thing that you have to also know is you have two 10-minute breaks. This wasn't there before the 2021 change. Earlier it was 240 minutes, 4 hours continuous, no breaks. Now you have two 10-minute breaks, which appears like every 60 questions you complete, you get to take a break. So 1 to 60 questions you complete, submit the exam, which is like your exam questions are split into 3 sets. You complete one set, take a break of 10 minutes. You complete the second set, you take a 10-minute break, and you then complete the third set. 60, 60, 60, 3 sets. What you have to also keep in mind is you cannot go back to set 1 when you are in set 2, which means if you are in 140th question, which is the second set, you will not have option to go back to the first set questions from the set 1. However, within that set 2 or set 1, when you are answering between 1 to 60 or 120 to 160 or 180, you can go back and forth to any questions. You can change your option, change your answer. You can mark questions for review. You are free to do anything in that set. However, before you take a break, you have to complete, you have to submit that particular set and then take a break. After going to break, you cannot come back and do that same set or go back to those questions and change anything. So that set becomes frozen. So each set approximately you get about 80 minutes or 75 minutes to spend in each set. That is how you can also put across the time frame for your questions sets. So that's about the exam questions. Let me also show you how the results are going to be, right? Now we are all interested, we are all excited to know about the results, right? Sample results, how is it going to be? Okay.
So
Any
one
question?
question, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Nihat, go ahead.
the questions are come the all lot of questions means 180 questions are and one shot it to be appear, or it is one after one after one after is going to be.
It's going to be like a simulator. Once you answer one, you go to the next question, one by one on the screen, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So unless we do one answer, then only we will go to one next question. We will not see the
Nothing like it. You can go to the next question, see it, you can skip and come back. All that is possible.
Okay.
You can browse through all questions at once. That is also possible. Or you can answer one by one and go next. Possible. There is nothing like a mandate. You have to answer and then only go to it. You can answer. You can also mark for review and go to the next question, come back, rechange, revisit, or relook the answer. You want to change the answer. All of that is possible, but that is possible only in that set, that 60 question set. You cannot go to
Yeah.
the previous set. Okay.
Understood.
Okay. Good. Fine. So, any other questions that you have so far, whatever we have spoken?
Yeah, hi Pramod.
Hey, Nandan, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody doesn't take break, does it mean that he has 20 extra minutes?
No way. Good question. That doesn't add to your exam time. You can skip. There is optional break. People can skip, but that doesn't add 20 minutes to the exam, of course.
All
In
right.
fact, the other way around, if you are late, if you're delayed in coming back and taking the exam, for example, if you're taking this exam in a test center This can be taken online or as well as in a test center. In case you're in a test center, you step out. There is a lot of security protocol and frisking and looking at security guidelines. Getting in sometimes also can take time, right? So during the frisking process, there may be a lot of queue in front of you. All that can delay the process. If in any case you take more than 10 minutes, it is going to eat up on your exam time. Please be very careful on that part. Okay. So that's how it is. There is no extra time given if you don't take. However, it may eat up on your time if you're delayed also. Good.
Okay.
Good.
And I have another, Pramod. So
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
approximately what would be the number of questions on numericals?
Numericals off late, not more than 5.
Okay. All right.
Off late in last 6 months, this is the pattern that we are seeing, not more than 5 or 10. 10 is the maximum I have heard or seen so far. Okay, 5 is the usual norm. In fact, some people have 0. They have seen 0 numerical questions. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
So there is a lot of change in last 6 months. This is a pattern that we are hearing. Very, very less number of numerical questions have been asked. Okay.
Got it. Thanks.
So the passing criteria, Pramod, one question is not out of 180, anything like that. So all
Yeah.
three aspects like process and people management and business, right? This to be get
Our
evolved,
focus
right?
is to do the best in all. Rest leave it to PMI to decide. That is all we can do. There is nothing like we get 140 questions correct, I am passing. Another person can get 100 questions also and can pass. That is possible in this certification. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you one of the results that can answer some of the queries that we all have in mind. Okay. And before this, I would like to introduce something else. Okay. Any other questions that you have? Nihad and Nandan had good questions. Anything else that is still not so clear, do let me know. Otherwise, there was one small update that happened in 2023, around the end of 2023 that happened. No exam changed, no ECO, nothing changed. Only thing that got changed, which is unfortunate to all of us, is because of some people doing some malpractice in the exam, PMI has now mandated a process which says like earlier they used to declare the results right away on the screen. When you say the last question is done, the last screen that you would see is whether you have passed or failed in the exam. Now PMI is not doing that. However, there was a relaxation also which happened in this year to this. They would give you a provisional pass certificate or a provisional certificate which gives you the result whether a pass or a fail, and they say that it can be withheld in 5 days. It can also be revoked, which is the reason they are trying to revalidate everything has gone as per the process. Because some people did some malpractices, this is a penalty. This is penalized on all of us, unfortunately. It can take additional 5 delays for you to get the official confirmation about your certification, pass or fail. Okay. And another thing that you have to keep in mind is when you're taking exam in person in a physical test center, this is the advantage. If you're taking online, the results are not going to be available to you until 5 or 6 days. You have to wait for it. This is something that changed in 2023. You are not going to know whether you have passed or failed immediately if you're taking it online. But in the test center, if you're going to a physical test center, yes, you get to know the provisional pass or a fail, but it can be revoked if things have not been followed, if there is any malpractice noticed by PMI. So that's something changed in 2023. Earlier, every exam, either you take it offline, online, they used to declare the results right away. You could see it. The last pop-up in the screen used to say, congratulations, you have been certified, you have passed the exam. Something like that used to be there. Now that is not going to be there in the online mode only. If you're going to test center, you will get to know provisionally whether you have passed or failed. That is one change that happened. And coming to result, so this is how the PMI is going to look at your result. Okay. I'm going to show you one of the result sample. This is how your score report is going to be. Text is very small. That is okay. You don't have to read them. But the most important aspect that you have to know is this part. Okay. Your performance domain. It says above target, above target, above target. So there are 4 grades or 4 levels you are going to be rated on. This is a rating based approach they are using. Okay. Needs improvement. You may happen to fall here below target, target, above target. So overall, your pass, and overall you fall happen to be somewhere here. Okay. And on each domain, you have been above target. This is the best. All of us would like to achieve this. We want to be above targets in all of them. However, there can be things that may not go as per our expectations or as per our thoughts. Okay. I'm going to show you one of the result sample. This is from a previous edition. Like I said, initially in the PMP exam, it has always been in 5 domains of project management: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure. This has been changed from 2021. They are scoring, or they're basically testing our knowledge on 3 domains. From 5 domains, they have now changed to the process oriented approach to principle oriented approach. It used to be process oriented approach as called before. But the grading, rating, everything remains the same. They used to say how you have scored below target in initiation, above target, target, and target. 1 above target, 3 targets, and 1 below target. What you can also see is, though we happen to fall somewhere here, this overall is a pass percentage. End of the day, certification matters. This detail about where you stand is more of our information, more for us. Nobody is going to see this. This is available only to us. It is going to be emailed or available on your dashboard to look at how you scored in each domain. However, like I said, the whole exam is a psychometric analysis, which means they try to see how well you connect things between the other domains also. This is one of the result. There is another variant of this, third one. If you see, this person has been given needs improvement in one, above target in couple of them, and target in one. Okay. Still, the overall percentage pass. Okay. A lot of variations in this. Worst of all, I would like to give you more confidence looking at this. What is this? Below target in 2, needs improvement in 1, 2 above targets. Still, overall is about in target and pass. So don't worry about the outcome. Give your best. That is what I would like to say when you're taking the exam. Give your best. Put yourself into the best place. Put your hard effort when you're preparing. In the exam, do your best. Rest, you can leave it to the PMI to judge your knowledge. However, in the current last 1 year, 1.5 years, this is not official. However, we have been seeing or hearing from multiple sources saying that the severity of the questions have been coming down. This is not so valid. I keep hearing this. I get these questions from many people. Severity of the questions or the complexity of the questions have not got reduced. However, the the practices, it is so relevant. Maybe you're already doing those, performing those roles, performing those jobs on real time. That is making it a lot more easier to take the questions, which means PMI has evolved to such a level that they're trying to test the practical knowledge rather than a theoretical knowledge, right? So they never give importance to testing your theoretical knowledge. That is not a requirement. So the ease is about how close is it getting to the actual practices which is happening in the industry. So that is what is making it a lot more easier to for people to achieve. Okay. So this is about the number of questions, the results, how it is evaluated, what is the pass percentage, how one can look at scoring the best, all of that. So how are things going to be and what are the prerequisites? I'm going to get into that. If there are any questions on this part, what we have completed, do let me know. Or I'm going to talk about a few more minutes on what are the prerequisites for this exam, what you have to go through, and how we are going to help you in this journey. All of that, I'm going to do it. Okay.
So
Any?
one question, Pramod. So the domains, 5 domains, right? So
Yes.
initiation, planning, executing, and closing and monitoring. So
Mhm.
this is the same pattern today also,
No,
or
no. This used to be the previous pattern. Current pattern, it is changed to 3 domains. In fact,
yeah,
project
process,
management processes cannot
project.
change, right? Terminologies cannot change. They have tried to revisit it in a different perspective. Earlier, it used to be called process-based approach. Now they are calling
Okay.
principle-based approach. That is the only difference. Project management cannot change overnight, right? Okay. The practices cannot go obsolete. Okay. The way of looking things only have got changed. Okay. Make sense, right? Currently, it is 3 domains. Earlier, it used to
Pramod,
be 5 domains. Yes,
Understood.
please. Yeah.
Pramod,
Yeah,
yeah,
Shrikant.
Srikanth from this side. So one question from my side. Suppose if I like opted for online exam
Mm-hmm.
and in between if any interruption happened, for example, maybe internet issue or maybe electricity issue,
Mm-hmm.
how like so is there any provision to make sure like we can resume the exam in, after that or maybe something else we have to take care before going for the examination?
So there is enough uh, there is enough hand holding from PMI for this because the exam for PMI is conducted by a third party organization called Pearson VUE. They are the people who are performing and operating this exam. In fact, you would actually be connected with them. You will also have uh, a phone call with them in case you happen to drop off. Immediately somebody
Okay,
would call you, and you will also have a helpline numbers which you can immediately call and tell what has gone wrong. Okay. If
sure,
something can be fixed from
sure,
their side, they will get in touch with you and fix it for you. Okay. So
sure,
there is nothing
got
to
it.
worry about. They are going to be there with you throughout. Okay.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
And also
Thank you.
before the exam, there is a check that you can do, self check that you can do about your system capacity, everything. There is a self check that we can also do, which is available from the same people. Okay.
Okay, noted, noted.
No issues. Yeah. Good question, however. Any other questions before I get into sample questions? I want to see if how we can see a sample question. After which I'll talk about prerequisites. So how much time have we spent? Yeah, we should be done in another 10 to 15 minutes with my talk about it. Okay. Let us see the question. All of us are good to take questions. Let's keep it interactive. All of us can share what we feel about. And there are multiple things that I'm doing here. I'm also trying to give you a feel about how exam questions are going to be, the length of the questions, the type of the questions, complexity of the questions I'm trying to put across. There are 2 questions that I have just to give you a feel of how in the exam you're going to see these questions. Okay. You are to oversee a project on building a shopping portal. You're confident as you have a team experience in doing such work. As per the agreed plan, at the end of first month, you organize a demonstration of the work in progress software. You invite the sponsor and other key stakeholders. Later, the sponsor expresses a concern on not being able or not being very happy with the progress, indicating that one of the client who would be using the software is not satisfied or their needs are not met. So the client is expressing some kind of dissatisfaction or they are asking for some radical changes which will possibly impact both cost and schedule. What could be the root cause of this issue? And even in the exam, please remember to pay attention, read the last part of the question multiple times. The reason being, sometimes the question may be asking for root cause, sometimes it may be asking for the what is the next best step that you want to take. or what went wrong in this situation? How, if you were a project manager, how would you want to fix it, or what was the approach you would have taken? So always please read the last part, like what could be the root cause is the last part here. You read that again before checking the options or the answers, so that you are aligned with what is being asked for. Here for this entire scenario, what is the root cause? Or in fact, where, if things have gone wrong, because of which this problem has been seen now. Any guesses? What could be the answer here? There are 4 options, one answer to choose.
Is it D? All the stakeholders were not identified.
Okay.
It's D. All the stakeholders were not identified.
Okay. All of you agree?
My answer is C.
C. Okay.
Yeah, my answer is C. The scope
C.
statement was ambiguous, leading
Okay.
to this.
Good. So scope statement is about talking the scope about. So all options could be correct. Okay. If I change the question to what is the source of this confusion, instead of saying what is the root cause, what is leading to this source of confusion? What is the source for this confusion? Then does C make more better or D? Source of confusion is scope statement, of course, yes. But where did the data to the scope statement come from?
With the stakeholders.
From the stakeholders, right? The data from the stakeholders, are basically the requirements from stakeholders, get into the scope statement. When can this become ambiguous? Stakeholders can't make unrealistic demand when the demo is happening. What would a project manager do if you're asking for new requirements in a demonstration? What typically we do? Agree? Typically what we do as project managers, if something was not stated before when we were doing the scope identification, and it is told to us in the day of the demo.
Then we will tell that actually it's not a part of initial requirement or whatever mutually.
Right? Ideally, this was not identified in our initial discussions. Of course, we welcome to take this requirement, but it will impact the path, cost and schedule, right? So that is where it is leading to, because either the client or the stakeholders did not give all their inputs initially, which is unlikely because here the stakeholders have been there. However, possible root cause is we haven't done a good job in identifying all the stakeholders are taking or giving importance to every stakeholder in the project. It can also be seen this way. Stakeholders sometimes are open in sharing the requirements. Sometimes we have to brainstorm, we have to poke, ask, generate ideas. There are multiple type of stakeholders. People do not speak when they come into a meeting. However, when you meet them personally, they are more expressive. There are multiple things that all of us would have seen when it comes to requirements. It's about how well we can extract one's inputs is important. So root cause here, like I said, you have to connect things, and you also have to read the second part. Like I said, root cause is what being asked, not the source of problem. If it is asking what is the source of the problem, then I may say scope statement. Then B, I think some people said B here, you can't make unrealistic demands in a demonstration. You can do that when you are finalizing the scope or giving the scope, or when we are coming up with the scope statement, you can do it. Likewise, all of this sometimes could be connected. All of them may look actual answers. Go back and apply the common sense. This exam is all about applying common sense. Okay. Second question. Okay. In the previous question, answer is D. Okay. Or answer was, yeah, D. All the stakeholders were not identified. Sample question 2. Let us look at it. You are working on a mission critical project for one of your key customers. During one of your status meeting, a key stakeholder informed about a change request with respect to your project. The stakeholder believes it is highly important and should be delivered with highest priority. What should be your next immediate step? So like I said, they're asking about where, they're not asking about what problem you're in, or they're not asking for solution. They're now asking, what is your next immediate step? In this kind of a questions, you may see all 4 options may be valid, but not the next immediate step. Most important step, next immediate step, most important element. If you happen to see this, this is the kind of questions where all options may be looking real, pleasing, and also valid, but that may not be the next immediate step. In this case, what is the next immediate step? This is talking about how well we handle the change management in a project. During one of the status meeting, you have got a change or a request for a change. What would I do next immediately?
A.
A. A is the
Yeah.
next immediate step. All of you agree? If I have to
Yes.
put in the order,
A.
A is the immediate step. I would want to assess the impact or the size of the change. I, as a project manager, may not have all the information, so I may reach out to team and subject matter experts to help me with the data. Of course, as a project manager, I need not have to carry every possible minute details about a project. Fine, I agree. If I have to change this question a little bit, what is the sequence of steps I'm going to take starting from A? All of them are valid options here. If I start with A, what is the next step I'm going to do?
C.
C. Okay. I would like to put
Then
across in a change request, put it across to the stakeholders.
Then D and then B.
then
D
D,
and
then B.
right? A and then C.
Yeah.
Then the last option D, take it to the change control board for approval. B, start the change control process and direct your team to implement. But between D and B, there is one more important step that may happen. What if your change is rejected? Will I go to B or no?
No, then you have again go to back to A.
Go back to A or go back to the stakeholders and ask them to give more justification saying that why do you think this particular feature or this request is going to add value to the project. Make sense? So there could be some questions which can test your knowledge on the sequence of activities, or likewise here what you see, which is going to be testing your knowledge on what is the next immediate step that we are going to take. So these are, I would say, possible complexity level medium. I haven't picked the high complexity here. So just to not scare you guys, have picked the medium level complexity for discussion's sake. Okay. Hope these questions have given you a feel of how things are going to be in the exam. Okay. And there is nothing that you will apply. There are not going to be questions about what is change management, what is change control board. No direct questions, at least that I have seen in the last few years. No direct questions. Earlier it used to be there, but not now. Everything is going to be like this. I would say about 180 questions. You may see 179 questions or 178 questions of this type only. And some lengthy, some short length. In the recent times, I've seen questions also being one line. I've heard from people, I was looking in the question for more information, but it abruptly ended. It is only one line. Of course, if you read the question again, you will get all possible information in that. Sometimes we feel having more information will be helpful. In fact, more information is also confusing. If it is short questions, be happy that you have less information to confuse yourself. But we may feel that, oh, a lot more clarity would have been there. Not all questions may be lengthy, medium, short, all of them can be there. But in the current pattern from last 6 months or 1 year, we are seeing medium to short questions. Lengthy questions are not much. Lengthy questions, earlier it used to be going to two screens also. Questions are like lengthy paragraph questions also used to be there, which are not seen anymore. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to talk about the different type of questions that you will happen to see in the exam. Whatever you saw until now is multiple choice, 4 options. You choose one correct answer. Okay, that is what we saw. Of late, they have also introduced, PMI has introduced multiple choice, multiple option questions, which means they may say choose 2 correct answer, choose 3 correct answers. One thing that you have to be careful in these kind of questions, there is no half mark, quarter mark, or if you get 2 options, you get 75% of the score, nothing like it. If you get all 2 or all 3 correct, only it is 1 point. If you get one wrong also, everything is wrong. That is the risk here. There is no half mark or anything given or any consideration given if you get one answer correct, which means in the previous question, they may say choose 2 steps that you may want to take. Then you may have to select 2 options. If you say 3, you have to choose 3. Be careful about 2 or 3. You have to read and validate. Tool is not going to validate. This is one of the disadvantage in the tool. There may be no warning if you have selected less number of options. Okay. You have to make sure how many ever is asked. You have to choose those many. There is no warning whether you choose less or more options. Please keep this in mind. You have to be cautious about the number and so select those many options. Okay.
Pramod, sorry, but I need to drop off.
Yeah,
Just
please
put
go
up.
ahead, Nahid. If you have any questions, I think you had one question. I'll talk about you in person. No worries. Huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
So question types, these are the question types. And one of the other question type that you will happen to see is a drag and drop. So you have to, this is similar to your match the following before. You select one of the process and drag and drop here. So this is one of the type of questions you will see. Again, all of them you have to get it correct if you have to get 1 mark. Okay. The other variant is hotspot question they call. They may ask you to click on a specific area, enter a value, or there may be a question specific to that graph or that point, what you are observing. There may be a question on that particular click that you make. You have to pick that question and answer based on that. So this is a hotspot question. Okay, these are the different type of questions that you will see. And summarizing what I am talking, you may happen to see 70% of the question types of this. Okay, multiple choice, single answer, maybe about 10% of this type. Okay, which is about 80% multiple choice, either single answer or multiple answers. About 20%, or again, I'm just giving you a number based on our experience, what we have seen. About 20% other question types, or it can also be, for some people, this can become 80%, and this can be 10%, and this can be 10%. Okay, but worst case, you may happen to see 70% here, 10% and 20% on the other question types. If you go by the number, maybe a maximum 10 questions of this type, multiple choice, multiple answers, about 150 questions of this, and about 20 questions of the other type. So this is on the number of questions split. So majority of questions are going to be multiple choice, single answer. These are on the question types. Having known everything about the exam, I would want to give you some introduction or insight about what it involves for you to write this exam. Okay. So what are the prerequisites, exam prerequisites? Okay, one has to go through. One of the prerequisites for this exam is you have to carry one of the degrees, secondary degree, which is anything less than 4 years. This is a 4-year degree. If you carry, you have to showcase about 36 months of project management experience. Okay. And don't worry how to showcase, where to showcase, when to showcase, all that we will guide you, not to worry about it. However, if you are about a 4-year degree, you should showcase about 36 months of project management experience. For anything on a PhD or a doctorate, if you carry, again, specific program specific universities only carry this. There is a special consideration given for such programs to showcase 2 years of experience on project management. Okay. Of course, you have to be looking at the guidelines from PMI and see if your PhD or any of those programs happen to fall under this GAC accredited program. If not, you will happen to fall under the 4 years of experience brand. Anything below 4 years, you have to showcase about 60 months or 5 years of project management experience. This is what is the minimum expectation that you have to show based on your educational and professional background or your work background. Okay. And coming to 35 contact hours, this is the workshop or the training that we are going to conduct and give you the course completion certificate. I see a question from Priyadarshini about, are we going to get the exam simulators? Yes, we will be giving you an online access to our learning management portal, where you will have access to all the content that we are using, the recordings that we are taking from the sessions, and as well as some practice questions, as well as some simulator mock exam on the simulators for on our learning management portal. Okay, good. So all of that is going to be driven and given from us. So this 35 contact hour is the workshop that we will continue. So some of them have already enrolled with us who will continue this journey from us, delivering this workshop from next weekend onwards. So we will be doing about 4 to 5 weeks of sessions continuing from today. Okay. So that's about the contributions from our end. We are going to guide you through the entire process. We will have our own study material, or which is the slide deck, which is actually a study material also for you. We will be giving access to this on our learning management portal. You can't download them, you can see them and read through them. Yeah. Hey Priya Darshini, you have some question?
Yeah, I had many questions. Thank
Sure,
God
sure.
I connected through my phone. Actually, my laptop, I don't know, the Zoom microphone was not working at all. It is in the mute state. Whenever I was trying to move it, it was not getting moved. Anyway,
Okay,
so
that
that
is
thing
fine.
is apart.
Finally, you are able to speak. No problem.
Yeah. My concern is that, see, I'm a technical specialist in cloud EQ. I'm working as a technical specialist. I handle many projects, but my designation is not into project management as such.
Okay.
So how I can put my my qualification, though I am a MBA into project management
Good
from
question.
Cardiff University.
Good question. If you see here in this particular sentence, it doesn't talk about designation. PMI never expects anyone to carry a project manager as a designation.
Okay.
Which means if you can prove that you have experience as a project manager, that is enough, right? Good question to all of you. PMI never expects designations. Okay. In fact, they don't ask any employee letters to be given to prove your experience. No, right?
Okay.
So there is no letter on the letterhead or proof from your organization. Never they have asked. It is just by your inputs that you are going to give with PMI, and sometimes they may ask for one reference who can justifying your claims. You can justify the claims that you are making. That's all. Okay.
Okay, fine. No problem.
Pramod, sorry to
Yes,
interrupt you.
Shrikant, go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
heard like some auditing is happening. So is there any like my confusion, or maybe this is the happening as a background check? Sometimes thousands of application that is processed, one or two application randomly picked, and
Correct.
some documents or maybe evidences will be asked.
Correct. So that is also there. There is nothing wrong that you have heard. It's a random process. Any of the applications can be selected. Sometimes the number of applications, the ratio, they may increase, they may reduce. During COVID, they never audited because audit process was not happening. There were less people at PMI working, and they couldn't do that. They were just letting it down. However, at some point, they have also increased. They have reduced. We don't know the percentage of audit application that can get into audit, but Since that question has come up, audit is nothing but it is a process to ensure somebody is not using this channel in a wrong way. They're just possibly adding or asking some signed documents or a scanned certificate of your degree or course completion certificate in a physical hard copy, something like that, which is justifying your claim. There is no cross question, or they're not going to call your employer or the peer or your manager or any of them. They may ask for a reference, you may give them, but I have personally never seen PMI again reaching back to those people asking for any justifications or anything like that. So they just, it's a process. You get a PDF basically with the questions and the justification they need from you. You get a PDF in an email. You have to basically fill all of that and sign and upload the documents back onto another portal. All of these details are going to be coming in the email. If that happens, we are surely going to guide you. Of course, it is a process step or a obligatory step for PMI to ensure the quality only. There is nothing doubting on one person. There is no specific pattern. If you follow, your applications may get audited. All these type of information are out available in the market. If you go to YouTube, you may see a lot of videos. Don't do this, don't do that, then your application may get audited. At least I don't trust them. Those are all some guess people have made. Any application, even if I submit tomorrow, my application may get into audit. Okay. Good questions. Anything else? Yeah, Priyadarshini, you said you have few more questions to ask.
Yeah, the process of PMP and Prince 2 are similar.
Come again. Process of
The
PMP and
process of, the questionnaire structure of Prince
no.
2 and
Prince 2 is a
PMP are
knowledge
similar.
based question. Prince 2 is a knowledge based questions, which means you read the book, answer the topic, answer the concept, you're good.
Okay.
So here
Okay.
that is not a skill type question, skill based question at all.
Okay, PMP is skill-based
Yes,
questions.
it is
Okay.
skill and experience based questions. PMP, and
Okay.
there are very few. There is one more uh, institute in UK which is called Association of Project Management, APM. They are also doing the similar pattern. Very few conduct this kind of exams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So why this has been categorized that PMP is only like I've been hearing it out that
Mhm.
PMP is only being publisherized in US and Prince 2 is publisherized in UK a lot. Why is it so?
Again, it is from where it originated. No, so PMP and this PMI is an institute originated, and they have been in North America predominantly, right?
Okay. Okay.
Prince 2 is a UK based institute, right? So they trust their local agencies. However,
Okay. Okay.
last few years things have changed. Both of them are equally accepted, especially in European countries, not only UK. In European countries, Prince 2 was preferred over PMP, but it has been changing. Things have been changing. They're saying both either Prince 2 or PMP is valid. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's again where it originated and where it picked up the uh, visibility, right? Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pramod.
No worries. Yeah. Anybody else has any questions?
Yes, Pramod.
Yes.
Just I would like to see what is the difference between PNP and PGMP. That's a program management.
Program
Because I'm
management.
having around 15 plus years of experience.
Mhm.
Just I'm thinking if I take a program management, it will be more relevant to my career.
Okay. So from a fundamental understanding point of view, difference between projects and programs are like running multiple projects in a coordinated way is a project or a program, right? So I am a project manager or I am a program manager running multiple or coordinating multiple projects, related projects for giving better business benefit to my organization. That is a program management as a knowledge that we all carry. Similarly, the expectations of the program management exam is also going to be on the expectations of how as a program manager you perform. So as per our recommendations, I personally, I would say, though if you carry about 15-20 years of experience, if you haven't carried across any other PMI certification, I would say you go through the PMP certification first, or any other certification which is a fundamental PMI certification, because the language and approach and the process of learning, the way you get tested in the exam, all of that becomes more convenient. And for any other certification, this is the first step that anyone would want to take. So ideally, a PMP first and then a PGMP, PFMP next, because for all other certification, this forms a very good solid base. Okay, so that's my advice. If you would want to directly hop on to PGMP, there is nothing wrong about it, you can do. But the chances of succeeding there is better if you carry a PMP first. Okay. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Great. I see a lot of interesting questions. Hopefully, every one of you have time. I have time. Personally, I have no problem to rush at all, but I'm happy to share as many questions or answers as possible. So, one slide I wanted to show, which is about the process involved. I think many of these have already come up. Typically, you make a application, submit your application, right? So after which you have, in case everything good, everything is okay, in 5 days you will hear about your application being submitted and approved or not approved, or if they have any questions or any audits to happen, it may happen. So ideally, in about 4 to 5 working days, your application will be approved. And what to write in the application, how to create the application, all that we will handhold you, not to worry. And exam payment, all of these steps. Anyway, you would happen to have this when I shared this deck with all of you. You will get to know about this. The thing that I wanted to make sure all of you take back from this workshop or this particular seminar or this 2 hours that you have spent approximately with me is how you will look at preparing for this exam, right? How is the approach? What is our recommended approach? That is one thing I wanted to touch upon before I wind up this session. However, I'm open to take any number of questions even now or after completing that. Anyone has any questions on so far whatever we have completed, do let me know. Anything that you want me to help out? Otherwise, I'm going to share our approach or our proposal on how we want to be seeing you successfully completing your PMP certification, right?
Yeah, yeah, Pramod. I have one question.
Yeah,
is it mandatory to become PMI membership to take up this PMP exam?
It is not mandatory, though I will have this in my deck. 1 second. It is not mandatory. The way it is looked at is you get some preferences, the benefits of reduced exam fee, all of that. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see this membership for Indian counterpart, again, PMI has regional based pricing, which they have introduced. If one of us are getting into India website, the renewal or the membership cost is going to be about 9,000 plus taxes. All of it would come around 10,000 to 11,000, including taxes. Plus, there is some one-time application fee. There is some membership for local chapters. PMI runs local chapters in Bangalore, in every part of the city, every part of the world. They have their own chapters. It is a community, a smaller group of a community project managers or PMI volunteers. They form their own group. They keep meeting once in a month or once in a week. They conduct their own chapter activities, contributions to the volunteers, from the volunteers. All of that happens in every chapter, which means every major city in the world has a chapter representations by PMI. It is run by PMI. It is driven by PMI. Again, the chapters are seen globally by PMI. Okay. You get access to them, of course. If you become a member and you join a chapter, it is $10 per chapter. You can become a member, join the chapter, you get access to all the network that particular chapter carries. You get to attend their meetings, webinars, anything of that, in-person meeting, networking sessions, all of that keep happening. You get access to them. And along with that, if you see, once you become a member, the exam fee is going to be reduced. If you are a member, the exam fee is about this. Okay. Again, this keeps changing. This may be not the right number. If you log into the website, you may see the current pricing. They keep changing based on the global currency variations. Okay. It may not be the same number that you may see as of now. I have seen in last couple of weeks, few dollars on US, it has gone high, and also on the Indian pricing, about 2 or 3,000 has gone higher. Okay. So this is for a member, this is for a non-member pricing. So if in fact, if you add these two numbers, it is going to be still lesser than the non-member pricing. 42,000 for a non-member for the exam. However, if you become a member, it is going to be 23,000. So what I typically recommend is, for the first year at least, or the year that you plan to take the exam, you become a member. Take the advantage. You're getting an advantage of getting the exam fee reduced, as well as you get access to PMBOK, many other materials you can download, have a PDF, lifetime access to it. You will have all of them. After which, it is up to you whether you want to maintain the membership, how much value add you're seeing from the membership. It is up to you, right? So that is my recommendation on the membership. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And one small bit to add there, because we are authorized training partners from PMI, we get a preferential rate. Over on top of this, we can get you some additional discounted prices for the exam as well as for the membership. However, you have to buy it as a bundle. You have to buy both membership and exam vouchers from us. But surely we can get you some minimum 5 to 10% discount. It keeps changing. Whatever is the pricing at that point that you reach out to us, we will check with PMI and offer the discount to you. But it will be surely lesser than the listing price, whatever zone it is, be it US, be it India. At that point in time, whatever is the offer that is running, we will be able to extend it to all of you. Okay, that is something that we can help you through the discount process on the exam fees as well. It will be reduced from further what you see on the website listing. Okay, I'll share that. As such, it is about 32,000 for the membership as well as the exam. I think the listing price is higher than that. 32,500 is something that we are offering currently today. Okay.
So, Pramod, 32,000 including training, you mean to say?
No, no. Training is separate. Like my team is going to talk to you about the details about the pricing and costing. Since
Okay.
somebody asked the number, I'm just sharing. Training is separate. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Fine. So costs can be shared. Post this session, my team can help you or I can connect with you, give you the cost. How is the split on the training, all of that. On the content of what you have to prepare, how we are going to help you, what are the things that you are going to get from us. I just want to walk you through on that particular aspect. Okay. One of the things that is very important key for you is the content that we are going to use and deliver throughout this workshop. That is the key for your exam, because majority of that content is coming from PMI's references. Because we are the authorized training partners, we have, like I said, we have access to most of the contents directly from PMI, which we are trying to adapt and use in our trainings. Of course, it is not directly straightforward coming as it is. We have made it aligned to our approach, our way of things, and which can be helpful, easy way for people to learn. There are a lot of things that we have added, we have modified the flow and all of that, but the framework is coming from PMI. So content from us that you are going to get access to, that is one of the primary reference material for you. And other primary reference materials for you would be your PMBOK 7th edition and the Agile Practice Guide. Both of them are PMI publications. Okay. Both of these you will be able to download a soft copy of these if you become a member. Or hard copies of these books are also available. If you want to go to any of the e-commerce sites, you may be finding a hard copy or the or the paperback, we call paperback editions of these are available on e-commerce sites, or if you go to a bookstore, you may be able to pick one of these as well. It is available. Or you want a digital copy, you can become a member. You will get a free PDF copy that you can download, lifetime access to that you will have. And the last reference book, if you are finding things difficult, you're unable to catch the basic fundamental processes, the training is also not helping, you may want to do some additional self-study, then I would recommend another book, which is from another author. I know this lady, Rita Mulkai, she is not there anymore. However, her contributions, her work has been taken ahead by the community. In fact, the publication is run by their family still. All her learnings, all her knowledge has been still made valid. There are volunteers who are running these publications as well, which is being still current. Rita Mulkai is one of the initial contributors to PMP. Okay, she is one of the founders of PMP and a good knowledge. She has been having a lot of practice in the project management domain. One of the good books that I personally have seen, and many people also like this book, many trainers have recommended this to people for going through in-depth analysis. Okay, this course may give you a broader understanding in 35-40 hours. It gives you easier way to connect dots from your experiences, from case studies that we are going to discuss. All that is going to help. However, if there are some fundamental gaps in the understanding of the concepts, all that, there is some contributions that has to come from your end also to make that gaps filled in. Okay, that can be done with these books. Current edition of this book is not available. Only the hard copy is available. However, the earlier editions are available as PDFs. Maybe it is available currently. 11th edition is the one that you can use. Kindle editions on Amazon may be available, but there were some issues, but I heard it is fixed and people are now able to access the Kindle edition of 11th edition is what I've heard. So you may have digital copy if you want to subscribe it only for few months of your preparation. Also, you can do if you don't want to buy these books. Okay, so I would recommend as a step of study process, attend our sessions regularly if you decide upon enrolling with us, and don't lose the focus on your study. Use our content as a reference, which is going to be made on our learning management portal. As we complete our sessions, the recordings of these sessions are also going to be made available. However, please treat these recordings as a backup only. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm having some personal work this week, let me watch the recordings later. Trust me, that will never happen. You will not be able to make another 2 or 3 hours of time to dedicated time to sit and watch those recordings. Use the recordings only as a aid when there are some emergencies, you couldn't attend the sessions, or you want to go back, look at them again, revise. That is where the recordings are going to be helpful. Please make yourself available as much as possible. Put your effort to be part of the session so that you can learn, you can discuss. We are going to be doing a lot of interactive sessions like we did today. Never my sessions are going to be too much of speaking. It is about interactions and learning from those interactions. So as a additional recommendations, you can look at these PMI publications, Agile Practice Guide and PMBOK, just from a approach of understanding the PMI language, because the exam questions are all framed by PMI practitioners. The language of that is very important. So you have to get used to the PMI language, for which I recommend at least one quick read of PMBOK guide and Agile practice guide along with our material. And last recommendation, if you need more details, some of the gaps that you are unable to fill these with these materials, of course, we are there to handhold you. If you need any study material, I would recommend Rita Mulcahy's 11th edition book as a reference material. This is good enough. However, if you go to PMI side, you are going to see about 12 reference materials. You will go worried if you see the number of books that PMI has published for this exam. I'm trying to simplify that process by recommending you only few reference materials. Majority of them we have taken into consideration in our material. We keep changing based on the current exam patterns. We keep analyzing what is changing in the exam. Every month, we keep taking feedback from people who are writing the exam. We keep changing and aligning the content. So it may so happen that if you attend few other sessions later or some other people attending later sessions, they may see a little different content because we have aligned based on the exam. So that's our contribution to your journey. If you are interested and you want more details, I'll be happy to connect with each one of you separately, or my team can help you with the costing details separately. However, for today, if there are any more questions that you have, I can help you with the process. Do let me know, and hopefully this approximately 2 hours that you spent with me has been of a value add. And before I forget, I would like to thank all of you for your time and making yourself available and showing interest to join my session. And hopefully I've done justice to this 2 hours that you spent with me. Right? Okay. Thank you all. Yeah.
Yes.
Open for questions. We can go now. You can yeah.
Thanks, Pramod. Just I have one last question.
Yes, please.
Is the PNP certification valid for only 1 year and we need to renew, or it's
valid for
the
3
validity?
years.
Yeah.
It's valid for 3 years.
Okay.
And you usually get 1 year grace period after that. Okay. Within that 1 year, you have to renew, or in that 3 years of validity, you can renew. However, if you forget to renew after 4 years, your certificate is invalid. You have to take the exam once again.
Okay.
If you renew within those 3 years, you don't have to write the exam. It is just about the renewal cost. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
No worries,
for your
yeah.
time. And it's really insightful, and we understood the complete details about PNP certification, the process, preparation.
Sure. Thank you, Satish.
Definitely, it was helpful and it clarified all the questions. Thank you very much.